Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back for our stitch along and we are working on French knots. So I've written out the word French using my friction marker, which erases with heat, with the iron or hairdryer or a water heating pot. You can use the steam from that if you're absolutely stuck for a heat source. And I'm going to be following around the outline of the rest of the letters to do my French knots. I'm using my Razzle thread from Wonderfil, Suspago, in this beautiful reddy grey. I'm using a fabric that's got the colours of France, being the blue and the red, and I just think that creates a really fun little effect. And these French knots are really fabulous for a whole range of purposes. You can use them for flowers and blossoms, also to fill in shapes. And as you can see here, you can use them for borders or writing, whatever you want really. So I'm going to pop through from the back with my thread anchored at the back with a knot, or if it's a continuation of your thread. I'm then going to place my needle on top of where the thread is, and I'm going to wrap the thread over the top of the needle and underneath. I'm going to keep hold of it with my left hand, and then I'm going to angle my needle back into the fabric, but not through exactly the same hole. I'm going to keep hold of my thread with my left hand, as you can see I'm doing, and I'm going to pull my needle and thread through the fabric so I get this nice little knot there. Let's do another one. So needle on top of the thread, wrap the thread over the tip of the needle, angle the needle back into the fabric, keep hold of it, the thread with your left hand as you pull through. So you get a nice tight knot. Now you can make them a bit looser and a bit more loopy if that's the effect you're after, but if you're after the tight knots, yeah, you need to sort of keep hold of it. So you might want to even hold it a little bit closer so that as the thread pulls through, you're still keeping a good hold on it. Now you don't want to pull too hard, particularly if your fabric's a looser weave. You might pull a knot through to the back. Now you can either try and bring it back through to the front with the tip of your needle, sort of trying to pull it back through the fabric, or you could just anchor it at the back and then redo your knot. So there's a few options if that happens. It's not the end of the world. So I hope you are having a great day or a great evening. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here, blue skies, sunshine. It's going to be, I think, quite warm. I believe soon we'll head down to my parents and Alex's parents, and Mum's got, I think, tomato plants that I need to start potting out in the garden. So I've still got all my beautiful spring bulbs all popping up. Daffodils and painter's ranunculus and freesias. Oops, I think I've just gone through my, yes, I have gone through my piece of fabric. Let's just fix that up. It's a problem with leaving your fabric quite flappy around your hoop. I probably should trim it down, but I'll do that at the end. Sorry, that's the fabric making strange noises. It is not me. Okay. Now I tend to work with quite short lengths of this Wonderfil thread because it does unravel a little bit, as you can see it's sort of doing towards this end. So I'll probably have to grab another bit, but I'll just see how many French knots I can get with this piece. So as you can see, once you get going with your French knots, once you kind of get your technique, it's not too bad. It takes a little bit of getting used to when you're first starting out with French knots if you haven't done them before. But I'm sure many of you are very, very proficient with your French knots. And there's some people, some textile artists that use just so many, and they sort of load them all onto each other. My good friend Martha, who's an online YouTuber stitcher, she uses lots of French knots in her textured hearts and other pieces that she's sharing in her videos. Martha, hope your holiday is going wonderfully. Also sending out love to our friend Kimberly from our little stitch along community. You're probably not watching, Kimberly, but if you are, just sending you our community love as well. And greetings to all our lovely, Stitch Along community members. Apologies, I've had to shift to the rather earlier time of, 9 p.m. time here in Melbourne, but for some of you it's in the US, it's much earlier in the morning. That's just for hopefully for the next few weeks while work remains a bit crazy, but that's okay. I'm glad I'm getting to do some weekend stitching at least. Now, as you can see, my thread, oh no, that's good. I've managed to pull the little loop through, but I think this is the point where I will go, okay, we need to just tie it off on the back and get a new piece of thread because it is unraveling. It is really beautiful thread, but it does have that unraveling tendency. But I tend to just save these ones in my Ort jar and use them for making things like little bird's nests or other decorative features. So let's grab a bit more. And this is wrapped with my little, I shared this recently in a video, a very great little simple tip of using a particular type of plastic that you can wrap around, and it forms a perfect little securing piece to stop your threads unraveling in their containers. So you just press it down and then it stays secure. So check that video out. I'll try and remember to link it below in the description, but if not, I shared it on, this morning our time, but when you're watching this, it's probably sort of a week ago, or a little bit less than a week. And I'd actually filmed that video when I was on holidays. Good chance to, just pull through. So that's what can happen. Even the little knot that I put on the back pulled through. So I'm just going to pop out a different hole. So hopefully the knot will stay in place. And then we just need to angle into the fabric through a different hole. Like that. Keeping my backing fabric out of the way so I don't stitch through it. And we'll just pop up here, I might go. I'll space them out so that I can then pop back down with the thread because I'll need to complete the bottom of the H as well. Do one up here. Oops, that was a bit loopy. Well, maybe I won't need as many down here, or if you get one that's particularly loopy and you don't want it to be as loopy, I'll just show you, you can actually anchor it down and make it, and go back through the whole of it and make it a bit more compact like that. So that's made it less loopy. Squeeze one in here as we go back down. So I'm going to hold nice and tight and hopefully get a nice tight one there. And then it's probably fine down there. Probably did that one a little bit too far up, but I'm not going to stress about that. It's not about perfection. Otherwise we'd have a machine do it, whereas we're doing it by hand because we want that lovely handcrafted look to it. It's come through. Where's that come from? Oh, it's come from the end of this, coming through the fabric. Just going to loosen that up. And then one more down here. Wasn't holding that time, and in fact that's what's happened. I've pulled it through to the back because one, I wasn't holding it, and two, I obviously went through the same hole. So rather than trying to pull it back through, I'm just going to leave the knot that pulled through to the back on the back, and then I'm going to make sure this time I don't go back in through the same hole. There we go. That is our French knot written in, not French knots, or our French written in French knots. So I hope if you haven't given French knots a go before, you'll give them a go, and otherwise, you can have some more practice adding these to your dictionary of stitches or your treasury of stitches. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.